But yep.
Okay, if we could get started, I'd like to call this March 23rd meeting of the County Board to order. Supervisors in attendance, would you please make sure you pushed your attend button at this time? I know we will not have two supervisors here. Dennis is out west, I believe, where Ken was last month. John is not going to make it, I don't believe, because of the health issues regarding his family. So, with that in mind, Pam had to get her recorder. She forgot the recorder. But I think we could all stand for a moment of silent meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Once again, though, please keep in mind our troops serving here and abroad, also their families, also the men and women in our protective services, and once again, John Ainsworth and his family.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Pam, I will wait till Pam gets back. Also, you'll notice our administrative coordinator is not here today. He is currently or in the process this day of having some surgery?
Yeah, shoulder.
And shoulder. He couldn't get his arm up. And I was working him a hard time about it.
Probably his turkey shooting arm.
But he's a tough guy. He said he will be back here by Friday. And I know the doctor had told him probably he's going to take a couple weeks off, and Brent told the doctor, no, he's coming back Friday. We'll see if that's true. Okay, and got the recorder working. Let's move on then to item 3 on our agenda, which would be approval of the February County Board minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by John Vizick, seconded by Randy Young. Comments or questions on last month's County Board minutes? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, I see none. We'll do this then by acclamation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 4, public comment. Anybody in the back wishing to comment at this time, please? Anybody? Once again, anybody in the back wishing to comment? Okay, I see no hands up, nobody standing up. We will move forward. Item 5 on our agenda, the motion to deviate from the order of the agenda if necessary. Is there a motion to deviate? Motion by Tom Kautza, seconded by Deb Nofke. Once again, by acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Chairman's report. Just a little history. This coming Saturday is the 26th of March. Back in 1982 was the groundbreaking of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. And it seems like, I can't believe it's been that many years, but it's been that many years. Also, in the newspaper that the county gets, the Business News, this month we have another Shawano business featured, Stone Creations. They're expanding. They were also a Chamber of Commerce winner this year. So congratulations to Stone Creations. One of the news that I get, I see the state and Governor Walker is signing once again the improvements to the implements of husbandry bill. It seems to be the 3rd straight year the state is doing this, so let's hope sooner or later they will get it correct. But I got to admit, it's probably a hard process because of the fact you got farmers that are getting bigger and bigger, equipment gets bigger and bigger, and it's harder on our roads, so where's the happy medium? That's for our state legislators to actually come up with a decision, I guess. That went out of the way. The county board had funded, and the finance had funded a portion of Discover Wisconsin. An episode aired, I believe, 2 weeks ago. I know John Ainsworth was there, Arlen was there, Rosetta was there, I was there. Once again, I think the feature was up and down along the Wolf. It went from Line Lake County to Menominee to Shawano and then down to Fremont. But it was a very good episode. It really highlights the Wolf River. It showed the dam, the sturgeon, and some other interesting points in Shawano County, like the bike path. So it, once again, I think we would really highlight it. And I'd like Arlen to maybe comment on it, and Rosetta. So Arlen, if you would be first, please.
Yes, anytime we can get a chance to do something like this, so we can display Shawano County to, I believe it's about 6 or 7 states it goes out to. And I think it's some of our cheaper advertising. When you go to work and figure the amount of people that you actually get to show it to. And it was a very, very interesting one. It showed the sturgeon and that, and I never knew there was quite that many sturgeon, but they must have hit the right date when they were down by the dam here. But it was a very, very good show. I wish more people could have come to see it. But it was shown Saturday night on television, so.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Arlen. Rosetta, would you care to comment on that?
Just to say that I enjoyed it very much. The colors were beautiful, the action was great, and it made me want to go rafting. Everyone I spoke to thoroughly enjoyed it and thought it was well represented.
It was. It really highlighted not only just Shawano County, but the Wolf in general. But we had a very good segment in that portion of that episode. It was really good. Okay, with that then I will move on. Let's move on to item 7 on our agenda, petitions and communications to the county board. Pam, do we have none? Okay, thank you. Then let's move on to item 8 on our agenda, which is resolution number 14-16. Please, Pam.
To transfer money from the TS Equipment Replacement Fund. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of March 2016 that $119,289 be transferred from the Technology Services Equipment Replacement Fund to the Shawano County General Fund. Be it further resolved that the $119,289 necessary for 2015 adjacent library fees will be documented as being paid from the 2015 General Fund for accounting and audit purposes, submitted by the Finance Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Sandy Steinke. Is there a second? Seconded by Bert Huntington. Let me remind everybody first, because this is going into the general fund, it will need a 2/3 vote. Arlen Tober, would you comment on this one, please, for us?
Yes, this is going back to where the counties, the other counties are charging us for using their library systems. And at the time, we had decided we'd use the money from this tech equipment replacement fund sooner than just take it out and put it on for reducing taxes. We thought we'd do it this way. And these are, I'd have to ask the question yet. Are these still 2014 money that we have to pay up?
I believe it was. If we need a thing for sure, Brent or Tony could get a hold of Darcy, and Darcy could answer that.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going to have it in the budget. So
Correct.
that's what this year money is. That would be one thing taking out of there. It's a way of reducing to that TS equipment replacement fund, and I think it's going for a good cause.
Sure. Anybody else? Question on resolution number 14-16. Mark Klosterman, yeah.
Just a question, is this $119,000, is that going to be replaced back into the equipment fund, or is that extra fund?
That's extra. If you remember correctly, how many years back, we found out we had this fund. There was a lot of money stuck in there, more than was actually needed. Yeah, no. Anybody else? Comments or question? Ken Capelli.
Yes, we need a motion and a second before we can discuss the resolution.
Oh, getting ahead of myself. I thought we did.
Yeah.
I don't believe
Bert and Sam.
Thank you.
Oh, I mean, then I'm sorry, but I didn't hear the motion.
Okay. Anybody else? Bonnie Olson, you have a comment or a question on this resolution, please?
Well, I guess my question is that I thought this total was almost 140,000. How come it's only 119 at this point?
Steve's not here. Arlen, can you answer that?
Yes, I believe for 2000, that's why I was asking for 2014. But anyway, now 2015 is going to be 140-some thousand.
Bonnie, that's advice? Okay, thank you. Yeah, Naki.
I think that was the same question, as if this is for 14, then maybe it makes sense, because I thought in the budget, we had actually, that was what was responsible for raising our amount, was the way we
Right.
handled that, and I thought it was closer to 100.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Anybody? Okay, I see no one asking any other questions. If you are then in favor of resolution number 14-16, you would vote yea at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. Who hasn't voted yet?
Mark.
Mark? Okay. 25 A, 0 nays, so resolution number 14-16 is adopted. Let's move on to item 9 on our agenda, and that is resolution number 15-16. Please, Pam.
Regarding the next generation of the Cooperative Extension Plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of March 2016, through the drafting and passage of this resolution, calls upon University of Wisconsin System President Ray Cross and the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents to direct the Chancellor of the UW Colleges and UW Extension to have any and all planning work groups assigned to develop and finalize the next generation of Cooperative Extension Plan to be comprised of at least 50% representation from individuals directly involved at some level of county, town, city, or village government. Be it further resolved that this resolution be distributed to the University of Wisconsin System Board of Regents, University of Wisconsin System President Ray Cross, Chancellor Kathy Sandeen, all deans and associate deans within the UWEX system, along with or elected state representatives. Submitted by the Agriculture and Extension Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bob Krause. Is there a second? Second by Randy Young. Comments or questions? I'm going to call on Mr. Krause, please.
The committee met before our meeting this morning and approved this unanimously. We originally were going to have this go to admin, but we saw the timeliness of this resolution and my conversation with the Chancellor. She is planning on creating these work groups the first part of April, so we didn't want to wait until our April board meeting, but rather. And so thank you, Jerry, for getting it on this month's agenda.
Well, it was after I was emailed a copy of the resolution, I thought, why not? It's a good resolution. Absolutely no reason to hold it back for any reason. Let's get it down there.
Yes,
Sooner the better. Welcome. Anybody else? Question on resolution number 15-16 at this time? Anybody? Question or comment on resolution number 15-16? Okay, I see none. Let's vote then. If you are in favor of resolution number 15-16, you would vote yea at this time. If you're opposed, once again, you vote nay. $25 ayes, 0 nays, so resolution number 15-16 is also adopted. Moving on with our agenda, we are on number 10, which is resolution number 16-16. Please, Pam.
Regarding the carry forward of funds for the sheriff's squad. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of March 2016 that $27,500 be carried forward from the 2015 budget to be placed in an account for the purchase of a squad vehicle, submitted by the Public Safety Committee and the Finance Committee.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by John Gwizik, seconded by Bert Huntington. Bert, would you care to comment on this, please?
Actually, I think maybe we should have the sheriff come up and explain the real reason why we're doing this, and it is a good reason, so.
Okay. Adam, Sheriff Beaver, would you come forward, please? And it looks like you're going to be on the agenda for the next one, too, so.
I don't know if most of you know Chief Deputy George Lenzer. He's our newest Chief Deputy. This squad car was taken out of our budget to meet a certain number, and we would like that money put back into our budget. We have saved $300,000 from last year. We'd like that put back in, just in case. It doesn't mean we're going to go buy a squad car. It's just in case a squad car breaks down or if we get in a crash, we're going to need that money to replace the vehicle. We did come under budget, $300,000. We're just asking for this money to be put back into our budget, just so that we can prepare for anything that might come up.
Anybody? George?
Yeah, in the squad, this squad car was actually in the 2016 budget, but it was cut. So since we are under, we have $300,000 from last year, we wanted to put back in the budget, like the sheriff said.
Okay, comments or questions? Randy Young, do you have a comment or a question of the sheriff or George?
Yeah, the resolution says to carry over. So this is money that's left from 2015?
Right, it's left, we have over $300,000 that's left from 2015, so
this isn't the 1% carry forward. This is just from the budget itself that was left over.
that was left over.
So does that $300,000 like sit on the books, or where is it? It would go back, confused, that money would go back into the general account from any budget.
It would go back, typically, your money would go back into the general fund, but they do have that 1% of their budget unexpendable or unexpended money that they can carry forward. This is just, they're asking for this money out of the funds that they did not spend from the last year's budget.
Not the 1%, but the $300,000 that they're under.
Correct.
Is that true for the next one as well?
I believe so.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, Kathy Lipke, you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, this is really interesting. If you were able to save $300,000, where can the other departments save that much money? I mean, that's a lot of money to be budgeted and saving.
Good job, Adam.
Can you explain this?
Well, there, we had retirements, people left. I think that's where most of the money was saved from.
Positions that were probably not
Positions
filled
that were not filled.
right away.
Fuel was a big savings last year because it went down.
They did a good job.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah, they could do it like in other departments. And talking about fuel, I hope he's locked in at those cheap prices. Probably not.
Good, but
You can't.
There is no lock-in.
Put up a nice big silo and fill it up.
I think the highway has some pretty big ones, so it is already, but, and that, with fuel, you don't know, what are we, a gallon cheaper, and maybe a year ago? Unbelievable. Let's see, Deb Nofke, do you have a comment or question on resolution 16-16?
Same observation that Kathy had is congratulations, guys. If we could save $300,000, that's coming in $300,000 under budget is commendable. of that, then you would be able to keep 1% in carry forward, and this is in addition to that, if I'm understanding right?
That's my understanding, yeah. I believe that's what it.
I believe that's the way it's set up in the resolution. We're not talking about their 1%, we're talking about the unexpended money.
Okay, and would this then go into that revolving fund for the squads? Would this go into that?
Correct. This squad was originally in the 2016 budget, but it was cut. And I believe they discussed this is before my time, at the August admin meeting when they cut it. From Chief Deputy Gutho told us that it was discussed that if we did save the money, that they would put it back in the 2016 budget this way.
Yeah, that's, okay, thank you. Randy Young, back to you.
So, the 27.5, you said you're not gonna go and buy a squad car right away. Is that correct?
That's not the plan. We don't want to go purchase a squad car right away.
It's just in case?
Just in case, we just had a crash, we had a big high-speed chase, things like that happen. We want to be prepared, we don't want to be short a squad car if something happens. We want to have money in there just in case.
If nothing happens, then what happens to the 27.5 at the end of the year?
I don't know.
I think that will be discussed at the end of the year probably.
Maybe you'll let us.
So, yeah, you won't use it for, let's say you got 27.5 at the end of the year, okay, we could actually use some more cameras or something like that. It's either for the squad car or nothing, is that my understanding?
That's my understanding.
Yes. Okay.
Randy?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bonnie Olson, do you have a comment or a question of the sheriff or George?
Yes, is the rest of your carryover specified for something else that you can't use that?
I believe they have projects for the 1% carryover. Yes. I don't have data here and I don't have the paperwork here with the 1% plans.
Because I understand about being prepared, because if you had a situation where you would need this squad in a couple weeks, you wouldn't have time. But I don't understand why you just couldn't use the 1% in an emergency and then come back after the need was there, rather than to have this money sitting there with no confirmed reason they should be buying that.
Bonnie, a lot of times the department will come in front of the finance committee and they will request certain things from their 1%, but that we always finds out about it. So this isn't from the 1%, and if the sheriff wishes to have the money reinstated for 2016, that was up to him because we've been told about it.
I'd also like to add, if I can, next year I plan on asking for the 39th position that was removed from the sheriff's office. I'd like to have that 39th position back, and we could prepare for that if it's granted by the board. We could prepare to have a squad car for that other officer. I think the 39th position is well needed. It'd make our department more efficient. So that's in preparation for that also. We're just trying to prepare.
Okay, let's move forward. Tom Kautza, you have a question?
I think we're kind of beating this to death. We got a department that saved $300,000 out of their budget, and we're quibbling around about letting them have less than 10% of that back to use for something that they normally would have had otherwise. If every department could cut their budgets by that much, we could buy them all a car and we'd still be way ahead.
Good point, Tom. Sandy Steiner.
George, do you know what your 1% carryover is going to be?
Well, 10% of the 300,000, I believe, so I don't know right offhand.
Okay, so about 38,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be almost enough to do much with.
No, not really, and I believe they have some radio and computer forensic stuff that they wanted to purchase or upgrade with.
Thank you.
But like Adam said, we're gonna, we plan to do our budgeting for that 39th officer, and if that budget does get approved, then this squad will be needed at the end of the year, so that officer would have a squad to drive.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Let's see, Mike McClellan, you have a comment or a question, please?
Yes, sir. This $300,000 that you have saved off your budget now, we're looking right now, today, of spending over $89,000 of that $300,000 savings. So I don't know how you're going to say you have $300,000 of savings when you're knocking about $89,000 of that. So if you look at the next two resolutions, I would not be in favor of either one of those resolutions. I'd much rather see the $300,000 of taxpayer money to be saved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Back to Randy Young.
And I don't mean to be a stickler, Sheriff, but in one sentence you said you would only spend the $27,000 if you needed it due to one of the current cars being damaged or whatever. Now you're kind of talking about putting a 39th patrolman on, or whatever it is, I don't want to use the wrong term, and this car would be good for them. So is it going to be used as a replacement, or are you going to buy the car in hopes that we approve it and then they have the car, which wouldn't be a replacement, then it would be an added?
I believe you guys would have to approve the 39 position first for our budget for next year.
And then you would ask to use the $27,000 for a car at that time?
Yes. Okay. I have no plans on purchasing another squad car at this time.
Just want to make sure I was clear.
Right. And with this budget, I'm working with the highway department to make sure that we have patrol officers at all the work zones this year.
Yeah.
If Grant Bissell requests it. And so that's gonna eat up some of our overtime, but I'm gonna try and get out there if I can also. So I don't know if we're gonna have 300,000 next year savings, but these are things that we're trying to work out. There's policies and procedures that hinder all this stuff. We're just trying to work through all that.
I think I did read that in your minutes that you were thinking about putting something on for construction zones. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Anybody else? Anybody? Question on resolution number 16-16 at this time? I see none, so let's vote on resolution number 16-16. If you are in favor of it, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. For A1, yes, the resolution number 16-16 is adopted. Item 11 on our agenda is resolution number 17-16. Please, Pam.
Regarding the purchase of portable radios in the Sheriff's Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of March 2016 that $62,000 be carried forward from the 2015 budget to be placed in the radio replacement account in 2016 for the purchase of 14 mobile radios, submitted by the Public Safety Committee and the Finance Committee.
Is there a motion to approve resolution number 17-16 at this time? Motion by Bert Huntington, seconded by Steve Geek. Comments or questions, please, now on resolution number 17-16. Bonnie Olson.
It says this is coming from a savings, that's what you're telling us. But is it coming from the general fund?
It has to be taken out of the general fund, or no? Yes.
It would have, so.
It would have gone there.
So it's not a separate carryover account, it's a general fund account?
Yes.
That's my question.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. Bob Kraus, comment or question, please?
Just wondering, this is going towards the schedule that was created during the resolution in last year, 2115. So does this move us up on the schedule? According to the schedule, we're supposed to replace mobiles at 10 years.
Yeah.
Are we on that schedule? This money then puts us back in that schedule? Is this ahead of schedule? What does it do?
Like you said, this was pretty much voted on last year. Now we just need the funding, so we need to carry over the money. We want to establish a replacement fund, basically, for the portables. We're not going to go out, at this time, we don't plan to go out and buy all new portables. We just have to establish a replacement fund. There's no way of knowing, when a portable's going to die or need to be repaired or beyond repair. Well, most of our officers have the newer portables now. We just have a few that need to be replaced. So I don't anticipate, we need the $62,000 to establish that fund. But we're going to buy on an as-needed basis. We're not going to go out and purchase all of them randomly.
You're not going, the $62,000 will buy 14 radios, you're not buying 14 radios.
Right.
You're creating the funds to buy up to 14 radios sometime in the future.
Correct.
Very good.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Anybody else? Anyone? Question, resolution number 17-16 at this time? I see none, so then we will vote on resolution number 17-16. If you are in favor of said resolution, you would vote aye at this time. If you're opposed, vote nay, please. A, 2 nay, so resolution number 17-16 is also adopted. Let's move on. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Move on to item 12 on our agenda, and that is resolution number 18-16. Please, Pam.
Regarding countywide policy and funding. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of March 2016 that it approves the following countywide grant funding policy. It is imperative that proper consideration be given to the possible restrictions that come with the receipt of grant funding. Restrictions can include prohibiting the future use or sale of the property that is not consistent with the purchase for which the grant funds were received, unless such sale or subsequent use is approved by agencies such as the Wisconsin DNR or other applicable agencies. Therefore, upon notice Shawano County has been approved for any particular grant funding, prior to acceptance of the grant funds, the committee who oversees the project to which the grant funds apply shall undertake to determine whether the potential restrictions that come with accepting the grant money are outweighed by the actual receipt of the grant money, in addition to balancing the other applicable factors. A complete copy of any approved grant documents outlining the restrictions, if any, and responsibilities of the grantor and grantee now and in the future shall be placed on file and recorded in the county clerk's office for all such grant monies accepted, submitted by the administrative committee and the finance committee.
There a motion to approve resolution number 18-16. Motion by Sandy Steinke, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Gene, would you care to comment on this one first, please?
Yes, the thing is, every time we get these grants, especially from the DNR, there's always, if we use any of the part of that grant, like putting in a driveway or something, DNR's got their church hand on it, and we can't go ahead and sell it until we get approval from them. And I think there's too many strings that are on that right now, and we want to cut those strings. It's when we get a grant, we should be able to use it as we need it, and we shouldn't have to go back to the DNR saying we want to sell this piece of land, and then they'll say, well, you use some of their money to put in a driveway, and we got to get their approval. That isn't right. So that's what we're trying to omit. So I'm really in favor of this. This is a long time coming, and I think it's time that we pass this.
Okay, thank you. Randy, comment or question on this resolution?
Yeah, the only question I have is, right now when we decide to apply for a grant, does the county board decide that, or is it just the committee that decides that?
We as a whole can, the committees can, the county board can, we can still apply for the grant. If we receive the grant, we need to be notified what stipulations are with that grant before the money is ever spent. And I know it was discussed last month, and Brent moved on this to come up with a resolution with Tony, because we want to know exactly what stipulations, what restrictions are with grant monies before we accept them.
But the committee will make that decision, not the county board.
There are some committees that I know make grant things. I know PD&Z, they apply for snowmobile trails and other stuff. So there are committees that make applications for grant. It's just that when and if you are approved, this language will basically say, okay, what are the restrictions on the grant? What can you do with it?
And then the committee will decide, if like you said, we're awarded it, the county isn't. The committee decides, for whatever reason, they don't want it, and that's where it'll stop. It will come to the county board.
Right, I don't believe so. Shouldn't have to at this time, but at least I'm aware of. But I know the highway committee, they want to know too, okay, if we accept this, what are we going to do with it? What are the restrictions on it?
And my only point is that as long as in the committee minutes it's specific of why, because, you get questions out there sometimes, how come the Parks Department isn't getting this grant money from not on the highway committee, I don't know why, but then if I can read it in the minutes, then at least I can answer any questions.
That's a very good point, thank you. Deb Nofke, comment or question on this resolution, please?
Yeah, I think that is part of the reasoning here also is being able to find a record. If at least it's discussed in the committee, you have a clue as to where to look for a record. But the bigger thing would be when you do have a question about what your commitments and responsibilities were on a particular grant project. Right now, it's awful hard to find those original grant documents.
That's part of the problem. A lot of those we don't have records of.
Right, and this way at least it's more about the record, because we spend an awful lot of time trying to find things that, it would be better to be able to lay your hands on them right away instead of having to rely on somebody saying, well, I just told you what it says, but not ever being able to look at the original source document.
Okay, sure. Deb?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're back to, Marlo Nofke, please.
I just have a little question here. Is at what point before or after do we notify the grantor that we have a restriction that prohibits or requires certain information from the grantor before we can accept it? Or maybe this is too far ahead, maybe we shouldn't be thinking about it, I don't know.
Well, if we're going to let the grantor know ahead of time that we want to know what the restrictions are, maybe they won't even consider us for a grant. But at least if we are actually in receipt of grant notification that we qualified and have been approved, then we can find out what restrictions they have placed on it, and then we can go ahead and either accept it or decline it. I wouldn't want to put the burden, so to speak, of, okay, what are the restrictions up front, because they might say, okay, you're not going to receive the grant.
Yeah, it's probably true that they may feel that it's, if they have to jump through some hoops, they may feel like we do when we have to get some credit.
Possible. Is that it, Mark?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any comments or questions on resolution number 18-16 at this time? Harlan Felder, please.
Yeah, I think this is a long time coming. It's a good deal that it's here. Because I can also go back to when Heyman Falls that time. It's a very simple way of saying this, but when Heyman Falls that time, they were taking the dam out and all that, and then the county was trying to possibly sell it or whatever it was. And then they found out that them two privys that was on it, and you couldn't even go into them or use them. They were so bad in the summertime. But the DNR had given, I think, $5,000 or $6,000 towards those toilets, and there was no way that Sean County could sell that land or get rid of the park because of that two toilets by the DNR.
Okay. That sounds like a crappy deal to me. Okay, anybody else? Comments or questions? Okay, then we will vote on resolution number 18-16 at this time. If you're in favor of it, you vote yea. If you're opposed, vote nay, please. 25 0 nays, so resolution number 18-16 is adopted. Moving on to item 13 on our agenda is resolution number 19-16. Please, Pam.
Authorizing application to the state DNR for public outdoor motorized trail use grant money. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of March 2016, that Shawano County hereby authorizes its zoning administrator or his designee to submit an application to the state of Wisconsin, DNR, for any financial aid that may be available, including signing applicable documents and taking any other action that is reasonably necessary to complete the grant application process for the receipt of available trail grant funding, submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Ken Capelli, seconded by John Swizik. Comments or questions on resolution number 19-16, please? None? Deb, Namke.
So, since we just passed the previous resolution, this would now have to follow that procedure, and maybe actually has to approve this prior to accepting anything?
Well, they can certainly, and I would encourage them to apply. It just said, okay, once, if we are granted the grant, the committee would look into it.
Okay.
That it?
Yep.
Okay. Gene Hoppy, comments or questions, please?
Yes, this really goes back to the Mountain Bay Trail. The repair of the bridges, we're doing that this past year, and the snowmobile clubs worked on it, and this grant will help pay for the supplies and it'll pay for some of the labor that was put on the snowmobile bridges. So in this case, the DNR, we really use this DNR grant, and I don't think there would be any problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Bonnie Olson, do you have a comment or a question on this resolution, please?
Well, yes, so what we're saying is that I've never really been involved in writing grants, but I know it's a long, cumbersome process. So we have no idea what the restrictions are on this grant until it's received, correct?
Maybe Bob Jacobson would have some idea as to what restrictions are on there right now. Bob, would you, by any chance, could you come up here, please? This is the usual grant that I believe that they
and I don't have a problem with this, but like Marlon said, maybe they wouldn't even allow us to write the grant if we were familiar with the restrictions ahead of time. Well, in some cases, that might be a good thing because I know that grant writing is a cumbersome thing. So do we want to go through some of those cumbersome things if we know that we wouldn't accept it anyway because of restrictions?
Right, the only restrictions on the grant application for the snowmobile trails in Shawano County is that the money can only be used to reimburse the local clubs for their labor for trail maintenance and the costs of grooming the trails for snowmobile use. We're not purchasing any land, we're not obligating ourselves to any restrictions for selling land. In the end, this is strictly just for the maintenance and the grooming of over 500 miles of snowmobile trails in the county.
Right, and I guess my question was more about general grants, not this particular one, because I realize this one doesn't have a lot of restrictions.
Right.
But in that case, when you write other grants, because I know you do quite a few, correct? Do you know sometimes ahead of time what restrictions are?
When we write a grant and we're awarded that grant comes in a contract form with all of the limitations and restrictions.
But you don't know that ahead of time? Those restrictions?
You typically know those ahead of time in the application process.
That's what I'm asking.
And before we would accept the grant, now that you just passed the previous resolution, we would have to go to our home committee and say, here are the parameters, here are the limitations and the restrictions. Planning and zoning committee or whatever home committee, do you want us to go ahead and sign this and accept the grant?
I understand that, Bob. What I'm asking is, before you even write the grant, do you know what some of those limits and restrictions are?
Typically you do it in the application process.
Okay, because sometimes it's not worth even writing the grant, correct?
If there were limitations that the home committee said, no, we don't want to deal with these, then it would not be correct worth writing the grant.
Okay.
Sandy, comment or question?
With these Right, so the snowmobile clubs have to follow certain restrictions to get this, they have to document and.
Yes,
prove that-
there's documentation that they have to keep track of and submit to me for my review and approval before I send them on to the finance committee for processing the vouchers.
Okay.
So there's oversight there, yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Sandy. Anybody else have any question on resolution number 19-16 at this time? Like I said earlier, this one is, we're well familiar with, we applied for it for years. So. Okay, I see none, so let's vote then on resolution number 19-16. If you are in favor of said resolution, you vote yea at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. 25 ayes, 0 nays, so resolution number 19-16 is also adopted. Moving on to item 14 on our agenda, we have resolution number 20-16. Please, Pam.
Here in the DNR part of the Runoff Management Grant Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session 23rd day of March 2016 that the County Conservationist is authorized to submit a signed grant application to the Wisconsin DNR and to sign a grant agreement between Shawano County and the Wisconsin DNR as necessary to receive grant funding. Be it further resolved that the County Conservationist is authorized to submit to the Wisconsin DNR reimbursement claims along with necessary supporting documentation, submit signed documents, and take necessary action to undertake, direct, and complete the approved project. Be it further resolved that Shawano County shall comply with all state and federal laws, regulations, and permit requirements pertaining to implementation of this project and fulfillment of the grant document provisions submitted by the Land Conservation Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bob Kraus, seconded by Kathy Lipke. Bob, would you please comment a little bit about this resolution?
Kathy, Chair.
Kathy. Does it make it
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Basically, this is applying for property owners to do projects on their farms or whatever, so we're kind of like, just pass it.
Just pass it? Okay. Anybody else comment or question on resolution number 20-16 at this time? I see none. So then let's vote on resolution number 20-16. If you are in favor of said resolution, you vote yea at this time. If you're opposed, vote nay, please. 25 ayes, 0 nays, so resolution number 20-16 is also adopted. Moving on to item 15 on our agenda, resolution number 21-16, please, Pam.
To approve classification of behavioral health registered nurse. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session 23rd day of March 2016 that the behavioral health registered nurse position at the Department of Human Services be classified at grade K of the Shawano County classification and pay schedule effective upon passage of this resolution submitted by the Administrative Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Sotal. Is there a second? Seconded by Richard Furzbecky. Gene, would you care to comment first, please?
Yeah, this is something that we want to get this off of the 10, which we contract and get it, and we have better control on it, better in getting replacements. And I think, and after giving it to Carlson, they looked at it and said it should be placed in grade K. And I think they're just about right on that because I think this is an important position, and I think the grading of it is really adequate. So
okay,
I encourage to pass that.
Okay, thank you, Gene. Let's move to Ray Phelan.
I was contacted by other registered nurses in the county, and he says, why are we classified at J and this new place would be classified at K? That's $2.30 hour difference in K. And I would think it's discriminatory against the other registered nurses that work for the health department.
Well, I believe the Division of Health Services requires an extra 1,000 hours of training for this. Let our corporation counsel, Tony, would you care to comment, please?
Yeah, I think this is different than a typical registered nurse position. I think there's a justification for paying them more. I don't think it's in any way discriminatory. One of the factors, as the board chair mentioned, is that there is a calling for additional training. There is the 1,000 hours of documented, supervised clinical experience in this area. That's very hard to get. Very few registered nurses have that, and this is truly a specialty. On top of that, we have Carlson Denman, who we've hired as our experts to do the pay grade analysis, and they've looked at this thoroughly compared to other registered nurse positions and have recommended that it come as a case. So it seems to have followed the normal protocol and is justified based on the initial requirement of training.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Kathy, Liberty.
Yeah, I see this is all 100% funded from outside sources, correct? Is this always going to be the case, so it won't be on county dime, or?
It should always be the case, given the nature of this position. Is that correct, Mr. Kane?
Yes.
Okay, he said yes. That Kathy? Okay, thank you. Let's move to Randy Young.
Yeah, I was just curious about the CSP, the CCS, and MH work. The funding sources, I don't know what those stand for.
And neither do I.
CST is community support programs, and CCC is what?
CCS is comprehensive community services and mental health. So those are all Medicaid reimbursable programs, certified programs.
Okay, you get that, Randy?
Yeah, I didn't think.
No. Thank you. Anybody else? Comment or question, please, on resolution 21-16? I see none, so let's vote. If you are in favor then of resolution 21-16, you would vote yea at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. One nay, so resolution 21-16 is also adopted. Moving on to item 16 on our agenda is resolution 22-16.
Approve the zone change for Dublin. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of Supervisors in session 23rd day of March 2016 that it approves the zone change as follows. Dublin requests a zone change to 2 parcels of land totaling 20.825 acres from the Farmland and Forest Preservation District to the Commercial General District in the town of Brent. Submitted by the Planning Development.
There a motion to approve resolution 22-16. Motion by Ken Capelli, seconded by Marlo Nonke. Ken Capelli, please, you have a comment on resolution 22-16.
Yes, this property, if you look at the map, is located on Highway 45, just on the outskirts of Marion, and there is some commercial land there already. So this has been approved by the town and by the committee, and at this time I'd like to make an amendment to this resolution, if I could.
Go ahead, please.
The last line, the tax parcel number. Tax parcel number listed on the resolution is 018-34110-0020. We'd like to change that to 018-34140-0020. And that is a correction on that person.
You just changed the 1 to a 4, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a second to this motion? Seconded by John Luzer. Comments or questions now on the amendment? Basically, this is just a tax parcel number, change one number. Anybody? Okay, I see none. If you are in favor then of the amendment, you would vote yea at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. A1 nay, so the amendment is adopted. Moving on now to the original resolution as amended. Anybody have a comment or a question on resolution number 21-6 or 22-16 as amended at this time? Okay, I see none, so we can vote on resolution number 22-16 at this time. If you are in favor of the resolution as amended, you vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. A 0 nay, so resolution number 22-16 is as amended is adopted. Moving on to item 17 on our agenda, annual reports. You have the city county library annual report. Christy Howard, the director. Comments or questions, please contact her, otherwise it will be placed on file. Moving on to item 18 on our agenda is the report by the Finance Committee on General Accounts. Please, Pam.
General accounts paid February 9th, 2016 through March 7th, 2016 in the amount of $410,204.02.
Is there a motion to approve general accounts? Motion by Bill Swatala. Is there a second, please? Seconded by Kevin Conrad. Comments or questions, please, on general accounts at this time? Randy Young, please.
The Shawano County Job Center, Feldman Center rent, is that a quarterly payment? What is that? Do we know? That $13,000?
That I will approve.
I asked Brent yesterday, he was going to get back to me. He didn't.
It went down, I know. It went down by quite a bit.
Or is that an annual payment? I don't know.
I believe it's an annual payment.
I don't want to speculate. We can get that information to you.
Okay.
I know it has gone down. Their contract was considerably less per square footage.
Okay.
That I know.
Thank you,
Randy?
Yeah, I'll wait to hear from Brent.
Okay, thank you. Marvin Klosterman, you have a comment or question on our general accounts, please?
I just had a question down on the squad repairs by the sheriff. There's $11,000. Is that in addition to any insurance that we would have on those vehicles?
For self-insured.
Yeah, we're self-insured.
We can take a lot of pocket.
Yeah. Richard Perfecki, you're on that committee. Was that question brought up at the committee level?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. Yeah, we can find out, get you an exact answer if you want it, Marvin.
I'm just curious.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else, comments or questions on our general accounts? I see none. If you are then in favor of paying general accounts, you vote A at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. A 0 nay, so paying general accounts has been approved. Moving on to item 19 on our agenda, approval of committee minutes as submitted with the agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Steve Geets. Is there a second? Seconded by Tom Kautza. Comments or question on the committee minutes as submitted? Bob Kraus, you have a comment or question, please?
Just a comment going back on page 51 for public property. There's a motion made in regards to the Hots property. The comment of the lack of interest by the Ag and Extension Committee is an assumption made by that committee, not set certainly by Ag Extension. I don't know that that's a good idea for other committees making comments for other committees.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm sure the minutes are probably correct. I'm asking, I guess, that question.
They are correct to the best of my knowledge.
All right. I would hope in the future we don't make assumptions for other committees.
Okay. Randy, Young, do you have a comment or question on the committee minutes?
Yeah, just a couple of typos, I guess, under the capital improvement committee on page 16, they got the word toll instead of two at the bottom. And then,
what page, Randy?
Page 16, I know it's not a big deal, but as I was going through my market, it says $195 toll, the tax levy fund. I'm guessing it's supposed to be two. Okay. And then next meeting date of the finance committee, I'm guessing they meant capital improvements. I don't know who took those minutes. Oh, that's good. Took those minutes in there.
Kicking that
Mr.
one
Miller.
down.
Yes, Mr. Miller did. So I'm guessing he meant the capital improvement.
Yeah.
And then on page 52, just out of curiosity, I'm guessing this is part of Steve Dreyer's report, public property, have been asked to participate in a project concerning the Evergreen House. I'm not aware of that project. Can I just get some information on that?
Is that, I think you're referring to the sale
I believe.
There's a property on South Evergreen in Shawano County owned by Shawano County. And right now it's being rented out to folks who have disabilities and things. I don't think the Public Property Committee was aware that we had owned that property, and in concert with the Department of Human Service Board, the project would be to ultimately sell the property hopefully this year.
Okay. All right, thank you.
He was pretty accurate. Public property didn't know the house was there. It goes back to before we formed the Human Services. ECP knew it. They had the clients in there. They rented it out. It's just in such repair right now that it's coming to property.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Tom Culson, do you have a comment or a question on the committee?
If I remember right, isn't that Evergreen House, when I was on DCP, the county owned that, and we set up a separate fund, even at one time for them, that it was county owned, and it had a lot of long-time residents.
Yeah.
And we set up a special fund just for its maintenance from its own rent.
Yeah, it was, I know there was a fund set up
at that time
for the maintenance and upkeep of the building, but obviously the fund is still there and the building is getting really bad shape, so that's why it's in front of Human Services and Property Committee. Anybody else comment or question on our committee minutes as submitted? Then we can do this by acclamation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Special orders and appointments, item number 20. This month we have the City County Library Board. We have to reappoint Jerry Vanderloo for a 3-year term to expire April of 2019. Is there a motion to approve Jerry Vanderloo? Motion by Deb Nofke, seconded by Milt Markwart. Comments or questions? Okay, by acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now, our Nutrition Council, we have to appoint Bernie Sonoriki, hope I got that right, from Bernewood, to complete the term of Ray Kenning. This term will expire March of 2017. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by John Zwizik, seconded by Tom Kulsa. Comments or questions on this appointment? By acclamation, and once again, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 21 on our agenda is board member comments on new business as requested for future board consideration. Kathy, look, do you have a comment for future board meeting?
I don't know where to put it, but I want to personally thank our clerk, Pam, with all the new regulations with the election. She's working way before the normal business day and on weekends to get these requirements done. So I'm really encouraging everybody to at least get out and vote.
Yeah.
Stay current, yeah.
Well, Pam is coming in like 6:30 in the morning, working extra hours,
And on Sundays.
all kinds of hours. And yeah, it's added requirements that are coming down from the state, and now there's even more added requirements regarding absentee ballots. It's just put in a lot of stress in that department currently. Hopefully down the road things will get a little better. I hope, Pam. Sandy, thank you. Comment or questions?
Just a comment, I want to thank everybody on the board. I've enjoyed serving with them for the past 10 years. It's been a pleasure and an interesting venture. But now I'm going to miss my finance buddies on my vacation time, the budget, but I'll survive. But thank you everyone for all the support and the friendships that I've made while I've been on this board.
You're most welcome, Sandy. I was also going to comment later on the individuals that will be leaving us, but you jumped the gun, but thank you anyway. Anybody else, though, comments or questions on something they would like to see at a future board meeting? Gene, do you have something?
Yes, I want to really thank this county board. I've been in this now going on 12 years, and I think this is the best county board I've ever had. After all, being in the administrative committee, we started out with the handbook, and you people backed it. Then you wanted a wage study, and we did it, and this county board backed it. And there was so many things that came up. We got a new administrative coordinator, and you went along and backed it. I think this county board was really fun to work with. We don't always have the same ideas, but we're not divided, and it was a pleasure. Of all the years I've been here, it was a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. I thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Okay, anybody else, comments or questions considering new business at this time? I see none, so let's move on to item 22 on our agenda. Is report of the County Board of Supervisors mileage and premiums for today. Please, Pam.
For today's meeting, there are 25 members present for a total of $2,253.54.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Ray Failing. Is there a second, please? Seconded by Tom Kalsa. If you are then in favor of paying mileage and per diems for today's meeting, you would vote aye at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. Go ahead and vote. Oh, there we go. 24 ayes, 0 nays, so approving mileage and per diems for today's meeting has been approved. Next meeting date will be April 19th. Typically follows second Tuesday after the election at 9 o'clock in the morning. One final thing, we're going to thank Sandy, thank Marlon, thank Patrick for being on board. Patrick, comment? Marlon, comment? No? Okay. Those that have opposition to lots, all today. And otherwise, we'll see you next month. This time, I'd like a motion to adjourn, please. Motion by John Glidwick, seconded by Gene Hockey. By acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.